I'm back, I'm a rap when my life getting tough. I'm a master of the craft and I never give it up. I put in time, I earned a shine, I worked it out, I made it mine and fell in line. And I came a long way, not the wrong way. Know that one day I'll be big as Kanye.
And what is up, everybody? I am here to talk about my personal top picks for who I think should join Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo Switch. I have realized that there's so many characters that I couldn't even fit it into one video. So I came up with a cool schedule to hype up for the Smash Bros. Reveal for E3. So for each week, I will reveal 10 newcomers alongside 5 honorable mentions. And for those people who are new, I've been a big fan of Super Smash Bros. Ever since the first game came out for the Nintendo 64. And since then, I've been an advocate for Super Smash Bros. And fighting games altogether. From Super Smash Bros. Melee, to Super Smash Bros. Brawl, Super Smash Bros. Wii U and the 3DS, alongside some other great fighting games with the likes of Mortal Kombat, to Def Jam Fight for New York. By the end of the day, Super Smash Bros. Will always be my favorite fighting game franchise of all time. Before we begin this, I am interested who you want to see in Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo Switch, so be sure to comment below who you want to see, because I am intrigued to know. With that out of the way, let's begin the top 10 picks for this week. Waluigi has been a major recognizable face throughout many Mario spin-off titles, ranging from Mario Party to Mario Kart, Mario sports titles, most notably Mario Tennis, and even Mario's version of Dance Dance Revolution. And I know, guys, we don't need any more Mario representatives. To be quite honest, I feel like they're gonna add another Mario representative anyways, considering how we all know that Mario's been considered the face of Nintendo since then. And like, look at this. Back then we had Rosalina and we had Bowser Jr. for the price of 2 characters, alongside Dr. Mario. And also, Waluigi has a lot of good moveset potential. Like, he could bring along his Mario sports equipment, most notably his tennis racket when used as an assist trophy, alongside maybe driving around a Mario Kart, just driving some Mario Kart into it, and maybe even some cool mannerisms that he's done in the games even. That is very cool and unique to him even. Or you just base it around how his lanky body is. But overall, there's really a lot you could do with him though, so hopefully Sakurai could definitely come up with some cool moves for him. Lastly, I feel that Wario is kind of alone without his partner in crime. And I know that Wario has his own franchise, but I feel like picking Waluigi would be a better choice than just picking a random WarioWare character. And I just love to see a dream match between the Wario brothers against the Mario brothers. So make that happen, Nintendo. Please make it happen. The menacing, villainous, crocodile, or alligator, arch rival to Donkey Kong, King K. Rool. Although he hasn't appeared in many recent Donkey Kong titles since then, I feel like relevance shouldn't really matter, to be quite honest, because he has been one of the more popular choices for Super Smash Bros. Since then. And also, we need more villains. Like, we only have the likes of Bowser, we have Dark Pit, and King Dedede, not counting Mewtwo as a villain. To be quite honest, there's a lot of moveset potential for him. Like, he could definitely bring some of his moves that he used as a boss throughout the first Donkey Kong games, from the Crown Boomerang, from the Blunderbuss Shotgun, to the Helicopter Jetpack, and even the Ground Pound he used in Donkey Kong 64. For his final smash, I would probably say his Kremling Army as a choice, or you could bring in the Cannonball Rainfall he used in the first Donkey Kong battle. Although throughout his moveset, he would usually rely on his gadgets and have some cool fighting abilities, from maybe even like a running headbutt or just cool like claw slashes or anything really you can come up with from King K. Rool. So that's really up to the developers right there. But overall, he would definitely make a great character, especially being the sinister, corny villain he is. And considering how he was probably one of the biggest choices to become the Smash Ballot winner from the previous game. And please don't make him a Mii costume again. I know there are several other great Zelda characters that many people want, especially some particular champions, but I feel like this character has a big role and a big tie throughout the entire Zelda franchise since the very early days of Zelda. The next character we're going to talk about is a female representative for the Zelda franchise by the name of Impa. She has appeared throughout many Zelda titles, protecting Zelda whenever Link is not around. She has many cool moveset abilities, from a giant blade and a giant spear, which we don't even have a character that's like that. And since then, she has definitely become sort of been a main staple throughout the Zelda franchise, appearing in many great titles of Zelda, from Ocarina of Time to Skyward Sword and Hyrule Warriors, which I think most of her moveset should be based around that, and even her main attire and costumes and such. But overall, she would definitely make a great female representative for this game because, I mean, look at the last game. We had so many great female representatives from the likes of Palutena and Robin. But to be quite honest, she definitely would play a different role in the Super Smash Bros. Game, considering that she wields a giant spear, which I know there's another certain character that does that, which we'll talk about later. But overall, she definitely would make a great character. ARMS has become one of the more recognizable Switch titles alongside Splatoon, so I think it's very likely we're going to see a character represented from this franchise. And who did I pick? What I've done here is combine Springman / Ribbon Girl because they were kind of similar. So I feel it's going to be like the Wii Fit Trainers, Robins, and the Villagers kind of aspect. As for movesets, I think they're going to go around kind of like Little Mac kind of, but having more range and abilities so that way you can have more damage with the opponents. But to be quite honest guys, I don't own a Nintendo Switch. I'll get it when Super Smash Bros. Arrives, but looking at the ARMS game, it was kind of fun actually. And lastly, I know there's other great ARMS characters out there too that would be really unique and cool. Besides, I know I've heard that Springman and Ribbon Girl are kind of generic in their own right, which I kind of understand that, but I could actually see some other characters too maybe joining as great representative for the ARMS character. So I could definitely see the likes of Twin Tail or some other great characters. So hopefully, I think very likely we're gonna get an ARMS character anyways. The Decidueye is a recognizable Generation 7 Pokemon that is known to be a Grass type / Ghost type Pokemon who uses grass feathers as bow and arrows against its opponents. And I believe this would be a cool character to see in Super Smash Bros. Because we don't even have a grass type anymore since we don't have Ivysaur, and we don't even have a ghost type for the Super Smash Bros. Roster to represent Pokemon. I feel like most of its moves should definitely be incorporated from its games, and most likely, hopefully we do this, is a Pokken Tournament reference as well, because we don't have a character that's represented for that kind of franchise. It would definitely be a cool character to play as, and it just has the looks to be a Smash fighter to be quite honest. It has the stance of the likes of Mewtwo, Lucario, and Greninja. Hopefully we'll get some information about Generation 8 Pokemon because that might change my mind as well, so we'll have to find out ourselves at E3 once they might announce Pokemon Switch. In the trend of female representatives, here we have is the telepathic vixen herself, Krystal. Krystal is known to be Fox's main love interest and serves as the Star Fox crew's telepath. Alongside her telepathic abilities, she carries a lot of combat abilities, from her Krystal staff from Star Fox Adventures, which was mostly displayed by her love interest, Fox McCloud. What makes her Krystal staff very powerful is that she has very cool abilities with it, from fire projectiles to ice projectiles, flight boost, creating ground earthquakes, and even creating small energy force fields with it. As depicted by some pictures, as you can see right here, she could carry a bunch of cool grenades and even some cool weaponry from Star Fox Assault. According to Nintendo, apparently Krystal was supposed to be the top female character choice that most people hoped to see in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. However, she didn't make it. She was known to be a part of Starbox's Twilight Crew's Starbucks conversation calls. and alongside that, she was actually pulled again for Super Smash Bros. Wii and 3DS DLC even. However, she didn't get that much votes, but however, she is still considered a popular choice. Although not being a relevant character throughout the Star Fox franchise, since not appearing in the latest Star Fox title, Star Fox Zero, I feel like she should get in anyways because she's definitely one of the top female characters that I could totally see joining the likes of Empire. And maybe a certain Star Fox villain who was cut from the previous game. After a long transition from being a side character to a main character now for the Kirby franchise, Bandanity is for sure one of the great choices for Super Smash Bros. Not only that, he has become considerably the fourth wheel of the main Kirby cast, alongside the likes of Kirby, Meta Knight, and King DDD. Furthermore, he'd be a great unique character, considering he wields a spear, which we don't even have that type of character for Super Smash Bros. As for his moveset, he could throw, jab, and perform a charge attack with the spear, and even spinning around, twirling it into a helicopter blade, thus making him fly, which would likely be his out special if he joined in. Finally, as an interesting fun fact, as it turns out, Bandanity has gained a lot of support in Japan. They come believing that Bandanity is considered to be the frontrunner of new Kirby representation. Personally, I believe that the Kirby franchise deserves a newcomer, and Bandanity totally deserves that spot. On the trend of retro characters, here we have is the samurai himself, Takemoto. He comes from a former Japanese exclusive title called The Mysterious Murasame Castle, which later got ported to the Nintendo 3DS around 2014. Although not really recognizable to most people back in the day, but it seems like Takemoto has gained a small cult following for putting him as a Smash Bros. Character. And the one major reason why he was excluded, according to Sakurai himself, was that he wasn't really recognizable to those in the United States, particularly in the West. In my personal opinion, I feel like that shouldn't be the reason why Takemoto shouldn't be excluded as a Smash Bros. Character and still be a ZIS trophy. Because looking back at Super Smash Bros. Melee, Morph and Roy of the Fire Emblem series at the time weren't that recognizable because they were exclusive to Japan at the time. I feel like just being not recognizable in a certain region shouldn't really be that much of importance, especially considering how the community feels about him. As an interesting side note, Takemoto was a part of the legendary Famicom 4, which consisted of the likes of Link, Samus, and Pit from their respective titles, and it's because all four of those games were created around 1986, thus becoming the Famicom 4 in Japan. Not just carrying his trusty katana sword, he carries a bunch of cool abilities, from the ability to walk on water, invisibility, fireballs, throwing knives, throwing ninja stars, clay bombs, and even windmill swords when he was as an assist trophy. In the end, he'd be a great unique fighter, not just because he's a retro character, but also being a unique sword fighter himself, and not another medieval prince sword fighter. We all thought this wasn't really possible, but however, it seems very likely now. Crash Bandicoot, who is known to be a part of various PlayStation titles from the early days of the 90s, going against the likes of Mario and Sonic throughout the console wars, and since then, he has gained a cult following now since his Insane Trilogy has been ported to the Nintendo Switch. And I know you guys may be thinking, well, Crash Bandicoot is owned by Sony, there's no way he's gonna get in because he's owned by Sony. Well, no, you guys are wrong on this one, because he's owned by Activision, which gives him the reason to become a multi-platform success, thus pointing to the Xbox and the Nintendo Switch. Also, Crash Bandicoot has appeared throughout several other consoles, throughout the likes of GameCube, which I played Crash Bandicoot's Nitro Kart at the time, Game Boy Advance, the original Xbox, Nintendo DS, and the Nintendo Wii. So that's telling me that he's always been multi-platform the entire time. Concerning Crash Bandicoot's moveset, there's a lot you can do with him. For his special, I would say give him the infamous Cyclone Spin attack. It would be a much powerful attack than Mario and Luigi combined with their spin attacks. Give him the infamous Subu belly flop, which would make his opponent stuck to the ground. Also give him his Fruit Bazooka as a projectile weapon, maybe as a side special from Crash Bandicoot Warped. And I would say for another special, give him the ability to throw various crates, especially the TNT crates and the Nitro crates. Final side note, and remember to take this with a grain of salt, there is a rumor that Crash Bandicoot and a certain dragon will be revealed at E3 for Super Smash Bros. Also, to top it off, I would suggest adding Crash's sister, Coco Bandicoot, as an alternate skin, since she has been also a playable character throughout the Crash games as well. Overall, Crash Bandicoot would be a great character, considering how iconic he is throughout the 90s, and he'd be a great competitor to go against the likes of Mario, Sonic, Pac-Man, and Mega Man, and possibly Ryu, Bayonetta, and Cloud, hopefully. So here we are, the last character, or characters I should say. I know this may be cheating, but it'll make sense eventually. Since Sonic the Hedgehog has been a big part of Super Smash Bros. Since Super Smash Bros. Brawl, it seems very likely that he will always become a mainstay throughout Super Smash Bros. As a third-party guest. So, personally, I feel like we need more Sonic representation, whether it be just one Sonic character, two Sonic characters, or even three entirely. That'd be lucky. So here we have is Tails, Knuckles, and or Shadow. Starting things off as Sonic's trusted sidekick, Tails has been known to be in almost every single Sonic title there is, from Sonic Mania to Sonic Forces and of course Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Tails has been known to use his two tails whenever he's about to fly, and whenever he's about to fight. For example, he uses a move called the Tail Swipe, where he's able to perform a 360 spin, where he's able to spin around with his two tails to damage any opponent. Also, as a reference, Tails can use that combo punch attack that he used in Sonic the Fighters. In regards to his gadgets, the most notable weapon I could see Tails using for his special is his arm cannon from Sonic Battle, where he's able to fire electricity out of his cannon. As for his final smash, I would go with his Tornado Biplane, whether it would just be flying at his opponent, or better yet, going to cinematic fashion, similar to Captain Falcon's final smash, where this time he just knocks his opponents down with an airplane. Cinematic fashion goes to machine gun mode, and finishing off with some cool, unique attack. In a similar fashion to Tails, Knuckles has been another right-hand man to Sonic the Hedgehog as well, who has been known to use a spiked fist for most of his time fighting. Also, he has other great abilities, from the ability to have super strength, enhanced speed, wall climbing, gliding, and even the ability to go underground. In the same position as Tails, Knuckles has been in almost every single Sonic title there is, from Sonic the Hedgehog 3, Sonic and Knuckles, Knuckles Chaotix even, of course the recent titles of Sonic Mania and Sonic Forces as well. Throughout his moveset, Knuckles has been known to be a powerhouse, and has been able to evolve most of his moves with punching, and usually is able to trap his opponents at close quarters. If he catches you, you're trapped in that combo. As for his specials, Knuckles' moveset could go anywhere with this one, especially his Drill Claws, where he's able to dig underground, underneath the surface, and able to move alongside the ground and go underneath his opponent, ready to strike whether it's his claws or his uppercut. Also from beneath the ground, Knuckles can bring big rocks and throw it at his opponents. Another unique special that Knuckles could use is his Hammer Punch, where he'll be able to jump in the air with his fist above, striking down the ground with a powerful punch, triggering an earthquake. Whoever is caught in that radius will likely lose their footing, causing them to be disorientated. Or better yet, rather than hit the ground to cause them to be stunned, he could also hit the opponent, causing them major damage. One last cool aspect about Knuckles is that he has the ability to glide. However, the previous Smash Bros. Game removed gliding, but I feel like they can fix it where it's not broken, kinda like how Meta Knight and Pit were. As for his final smash, I would say give him Hyper Knuckles, The ultimate life form Shadow the Hedgehog has been a big deal throughout the entire franchise since the days of Sonic Adventure 2. Since being the arch rival of Sonic the Hedgehog, and even sometimes an ally for certain occasions, he has been able to match his speed and skill from time to time, and even has the ability to use the Chaos Ammo for his new ability, Chaos Control. Throughout the Smash Bros. Series, Shadow has been known to be an assist trophy. Lastly, as it pertains to his moveset, throughout most of his specials, I would definitely give him his most recognizable ones, from his Chaos Spear, which is his side special, where he'd be able to create a raw form of chaos energy into a form of electricity, and throw it at his opponents as an energy bolt. For an Ugg special, I would definitely give him the ability to teleport, where he's able to teleport at any will. Maybe as a cool reference to his own game, Shadow the Hedgehog, he could definitely bring his weapons, from the Gatling gun, to the bazooka, laser rifles, close combat weapons, or even his bike if he wanted to. I don't know how he would do this, but Chaos Control would be a cool move to see. I would bet it'd be similar to how Bayonetta uses her Witch Time. Before we go to his final smash, I gotta say this. Each character that I just mentioned so far for the Sonic characters will likely have a spin dash no matter what. For his final smash, it is Super Shadow. Don't make it the same as Super Sonic. I would say make it different by, before he transforms back to himself, give him the ability to use Chaos Blast on people, which will be a giant blast explosion of chaos energy. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and enjoyed the list of characters that I had to talk through for the past 20 minutes, I believe. I do apologize for that, but there were just so many characters I had to get out of the way, especially this last 3 that I had to mention. This will give you a brief insight of what will go down throughout my next parts of which characters that I think should also join alongside these 10 that I just mentioned already. So, have a great day, great night, or like chilling and stuff like that, and also be sure to comment down below what characters you think should join Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo Switch. I am out, guys. Peace.